It's always so awkward when I go on live and I forget that it takes a few seconds for the camera to catch up because I'm usually sucking on a mint or something, making weird faces. Anyway, that is my thing because when I see my videos later and I see the first panel, I'm always horrified they've caught me with my mouth open, scratching my ear, whatever. I just watched Renelle Smith's video, and Renelle covered the whole thing about that troll using racism. Hey, Carolyn. Hey, Queen of Sheba. Hey, Grace. And I just kind of laugh over it because I'm not laughing at racism. I'm laughing at KJ going to one of her tried and true distraction pieces of BS that she does every single time she gets caught. Hey, Terry. I feel like we should make a chart up where we should tick off every time KJ does something horrible and weird and strange. Okay, I'm going to introduce myself briefly and then I'm going to move on to what I really want to talk about as a historian. As someone who loves history, would like to be a historian. My name is Suzanne Tidkemeyer. I wrote a column for Pathos for nearly 10 years called No Longer Quivering about evangelical religion. And yeah, don't believe anybody I'm talking about. This is all my personal opinions. Do the YouTubey things, please. Bingo card. Queen of Sheba, that is an excellent idea. We should see about getting bingo cards together. And every time that troll is caught in those things, you can tick off what you think she'll do next. Just came from Renelle's live. I just wanted to cry with her. Carolyn, it is a hard thing. And I cannot imagine the psychic burden carried by African Americans, not just in the US, but as you know, Renelle is from South Africa, but kind of worldwide. You know, that was one of the things Renelle is Renelle Smith is a commenter, creator here on YouTube. I have her video linked in my description because Renelle was giving me the feels most definitely because it's horrible. You know, I thought in the US when President Obama was elected, I was like, we're a post-racist society. And now African Americans will feel every bit as good as whites. And we can all link arms and skip off happy in the sunset. Oh, sweet summer child, how ignorant I was. Renelle is awesome, and seeing her get upset really hurt me a lot. Queen Sheba, exactly. It hurts all of us. And she was really upset about the whole comment, the tar baby comment. I saw that, and I've been sitting on it thinking about it all this time because it's bad, okay? Tar baby is a tale from the 1800s. It was written down for the Uncle Remus tales. That's where it originated. I think it was originally written down. Let me check my facts real quick. Originally written down in 1881, which does not mean it should be used. It's something from a bygone era. It's like the KKK. Nobody in their right mind should ever join anything like that or involve themselves in anything like that. But this is part of our shameful shared history. If you know anything about me, you know that I love history. I absolutely do. So I had to take a look. I had to refresh my memory about tar baby because usually when you say something is a tar baby situation, it means that it's really a complex issue. I'm not sure that KJ's commenter meant it that way or whether they meant it as an insult to Marvon. I don't care. It's just something that you don't use. It's the same thing as I have to remind myself frequently not to say the word retarded, even though to retard something is a musical term and you can use it in other ways. One of her commenters said tar baby, said something about the whole situation with Marvon being and his mother and the whole 9 yards being a tar baby. Okay. And I think maybe there was a correct usage, but I don't know. Like I said, this comes from our very distant racist past. If you look it up, it says a tar baby is a doll made of tar and turpentine used by villainous Briar Fox to entrap Briar Rabbit. The more the Briar Rabbit fights the tar baby, the more entangled he becomes. It refers to a problematic situation that is only aggravated by additional involvement with it. And it's kind of interesting because this is one of those tales that even Native American folklore has in it, and Mesoamerican kind of societies, Mexico, South America, Central America, they actually have tar baby tales, and all over Africa. But you don't say those things. Just like you don't, there's certain words you just don't use. You don't call anybody an SULT. You don't call people the different type names that I refer to things in certain ways that we used to in the past. I know I am guilty of this because I am old as tar myself. I'm old as dirt. And I remember when some of these things were in common usage. And most people just in one ear and straight out the other. I think there's some things that we have to actually put aside. And tar baby is one of those. It really doesn't need to be used anymore. But here's the thing with KJ, she always goes for the most awful things possible. She's going for this with one of Molly Golightly's people that was on her stream. Now, I didn't see, yeah, a long time ago. Yes, Carolyn, I'm 62, and some of these things that were common when you and I were younger are just not, nobody hears about them. So I've seen that sometimes we have to explain these things to younger people because they're going to take offense. Not saying that using tar baby isn't bad, because it is. I think anything that refers to racial things like that, it is. And for KJ to use the whole thing about African Americans and how she's not prejudiced and how Molly Golightly is, it's just utterly ridiculous. I saw that live stream, and I don't think it was racism that caused Molly to boot her out. It was more like the way she was just raving and rambling and over top of everybody. It is an insult. So you don't say those things. You can say it's a complex situation, but don't call it a tar baby. You just don't do that. And I've heard the term used to refer to African Americans as well. That's why you should not use the stupid thing. And my heart broke for Renelle. KJ needs to have her platform taken away. She's malicious and dangerous. Someone's going to get hurt because of her one day. She may get hurt because of her one day. And that's what I'm afraid of. Someone is going to get hurt. Because right now she's trying to stir up some people against Molly Golightly who seem a little unhinged, regardless of what color they are. And I'm not saying that Black women don't get, and women of color do not get poor treatment in the medical care, because all you have to do is look at the statistics. It happens. It's bad. It happens. Just being a woman will get you horrible treatment from medical care. I went through that myself with it recently. Oh, she is inciting. I believe she's absolutely inciting. She's trying to start trouble. She's deliberately provoking people to all kinds of BS, which is one of her go-tos. Like I said, I think I'm going to have to sit down. I'm going to have to think about it a while and do bingo cards, or a checklist, because she has this progression she does every single time she gets in trouble that I've observed, where if she gets called out on this, well, then she does this. If this happens, she pulls out her son, like Justice for Vaughn, seizing upon Marvon, because it's Marvon and Vaughn. It's predictable. It's ridiculous, and it's predictable. And the thing is, KJ's husband has been involved with Norse mythology, and one of the groups that he is involved in does have white supremacy links. She can deny it all day, but it's true. There are links between that group and other white European kind of promotion. I call them KKK light because they're not wearing the robes and the hoods. Why is she bringing a minor into it? I'm not sure. I try not to watch her too much. I watch an occasional clip here and there, but not all of it. Kind of like the JY card or the problematic behavior of the 90 day. Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. And I don't even know the 90-day community that much, but I know a few things about it just because my daughter watches it. I watch Love After a Lockup, and occasionally we cross watch each other's shows. So it's ridiculous for KJ to say she's not racist because clearly she is, because every time she gets in trouble, one of her moves is to blow the racist dog whistle, which is what she's doing now. And she's hurting people. She's hurting people like Renelle. And that's never good. You just don't run around hurting other people, but that seems to be her jam. We've seen her get excited when she's doing this, like talking about this child was molested. We've seen her doing this for so many years now that is just utterly ridiculous with her. So I predict she's going to double down in this. I kind of hope she does have this lady who was on Molly Golightly's on her channel. Why? Because I think from watching the lady, she's going to eat KJ's lunch. It won't be a pleasant thing, and we'll get to watch it. That's the best part. There are just some people, and I'm not saying it's for right or for wrong, that are really stuck on their issues, and they bring it before everybody all the time. You can bring them on live streams and you can be talking about something entirely different, and they will haul their issues out. Now, does that make it wrong or right? I think it really depends upon the spirit it's done in and how they're doing it. I think when you start talking over people, you start shouting at them, you've lost any advantage. You know the old saying, the one that loses control loses. There's a great deal to be said about that. And anybody that is female that has any kind of chronic ailment can tell you that it is part and parcel, unfortunately, of being a female, fallen into the times of the American healthcare society, that being a woman, you're automatically not believed, you're not listened to, people will put you down, and it has not a damn thing to do with color. Now, do African Americans and people of color get treated poorly? Sure, but like Renelle was saying, Marvin is clearly not. They're taking good care of him. So for KJ to make all of her claims about Marvin and racism and his hospital care is ridiculous as well. It just is. Many of us experience what it feels like. It's no fun. It's something that needs to be brought to light. My daughter works for a charity that they work with physicians. And one of the big things that they've been working on is getting physicians to realize they have to listen to women, and they have to look at their own conscious biases when it involves women of color or people of color, to come up with ways around their own biases to provide adequate care. I mean, it's a serious thing we're talking about here in the US. I just went through this with my insurance company, with UVA, myself. I guess not long before the pandemic, back to the States, got retested sleep lab with UVA. Okay. It's not the first time I've used their sleep lab, but I guarantee it will be the last after what happened to me. And this is after having a similar experience with a private company that was handled very differently. I had a sleep lab. The technician the next morning told me what my number was, and I said, well, there is no way. That's half of what my normal number is for my CPAP machine. And she said, oh, no. And I said, can I be retested? Because I don't believe that number is right. No, 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 you cannot be retested. That number is right. That number is right. So they issued me a CPAP machine, a VPAP, set on that particular. Have been the last 3 years. I've been having all kinds of problems with my health. I've had several strokes. I've had problems, and I keep contacting the sleep lab at UVA and saying, "Hey, can I come in and be retested?" And they've said, "No, there's no need to retest you. Your test was fine." Once, about 10 years ago, I was tested. I've probably been tested 5 or 6 times for this. I know what my number is. Okay, so the last time that happened before that with a private lab, I said, "Hey, I don't think this number is right. Can we retest?" And they said, "Sure, let's retest you. Let's retest you and see what the number is." I was right. I was right about the number that time. I think I'm right this time. So last night I had the first good, hard, perfect night of sleep because I reset my CPAP machine. I illegally reset it to the number I've been using for years on my CPAP machine from 1997 until 3 years ago at UVA. It was, "Oh, your number's half." And I had the first good night's sleep, first in forever. Hey, bossy. So here I am, one lone woman, getting blown off by the university people who should have known better. If it can happen to me, it can happen to you, it can happen to her, it can happen to anybody. And the sad thing is, I knew it was happening to me, and I kept trying to talk to them. But the bias was, "You're a woman, we're a university full of brainy people. How on earth could we have done your lab wrong?" Well, a couple ways, because I did witness some things that led me to believe that the woman who ran the lab didn't know what the hell she was doing. And I got a bad reading. Nobody wanted to accept that. So I'm hoping this stops all the health problems I've been having. This morning I got up and was like, yes, ready to go. But for many people, that's not what happens. I've read that for many African American women, women of color, that they can't even get pain relief. They're not offered the same level of pain relief that white people would be. They're not offered any of that. They're treated differently. They're treated like criminals sometimes for just requesting the same level of care as everybody else. I can hardly imagine if myself, who identifies, I'm mixed race, identifies as mixed, is getting this kind of treatment with good insurance. God knows what's happening. I was on the panel with Nurse Liz discussing what to do when your doctor blows you off. I'm so sorry that happened. I'm glad you figured it out and are feeling better. I hope it lasts. Melody, I had to actually hack my machine to make it happen because they were not giving me any satisfaction. When I called yesterday to the insurance company and to the hospital because I woke up with slight TIA symptoms and said, "Hey, something is not right here." And I've been telling you guys for a long time something's not right. I got told, "Well, go to your primary care doctor. He'll refer you to the pulmonologist. You'll get referred to the sleep specialist." And the sleep lab is 3 months behind. So we're talking a good 6 months, and I have to be in the States to make this happen. I don't have a home in the States anymore. So I chose to go on MacGyver and do what I could do to change the machine back to my setting, and I'm glad I did. But like I've said, a lot of women don't have those options. They don't have the knowledge to do that stuff. I saw a doc about NIH, about clinical trials, about one that was on sickle cell. The doc was saying how brutal it is and how much harder it is to get pain relief. With that diagnosis, they should be handing out. Bossy, and I saw that when my child was sick. At one point, they had her in a room with the poor girl that was being treated for sickle cell, who was roughly her age. And that poor child suffered. I mean, suffered horribly. And they did not give her adequate pain relief. I actually called the nurse a number of times for the child for a number of reasons. One of which, she needed to go to the bathroom, and I wanted to take her, but she was all hooked up to machinery. By the time they got there to take care of her, she had gone in the bed. Is yeah, bossy, isn't that a piece of you know what? That doesn't work. They pass the buck and it leaves you nowhere. Exactly. Exactly. Melody, I know, and it makes me furious that women especially get this kind of treatment from physicians, from offices that should know better. It's not like this is a new problem that has popped up for me. I've been on a CPAP machine since 1997. I know my level by now, but every now and then the insurance company makes me be retested. And I got to say, the UVA sleep lab was one of the worst testing facilities I have ever been in for sleep lab. Yes, sometimes we have to take things in our own hands, bossy. And I think we're going to have to see that among women of color too. We're going to have to just not accept when we have these things happen. One thing I have started to do, and I've done it here a couple times too, and I started doing it before I left, was you run into a physician that is unsympathetic for your condition or whatever you're going through, blows you off, minimizes your suffering, minimizes everything you're going through. You know what you can do? Change doctors. That's one big one that I've had to do. I had a pulmonologist one time because of an offhand remark I made about I was going to file for disability. I wanted this new doctor to support me in it because my old doctor off of his position there in our little town because they wanted to take over the hospital. And they had someone they wanted to put in as hospital pulmonologist who was married to the guy taking over the ER to streamline it. And the deal was they were packaged deal. So mad because they started taking people's lives in their own hands by running this excellent caring physician off. So I had to go to this lady doctor in another town. I started trying to talk to her about filing for disability. My earlier pulmonologist had tried to help me file for it. I never could get it. So I was getting ready to go another round with Social Security Administration to try and get disability. And I made a remark about my husband, a stupid remark. The next time I saw her, she said, I am not comfortable with you, with your husband. If I could have to if I can continue seeing, I'm starting to get so mad, I'm starting to get livid. If I'm going to continue seeing you as a pulmonology patient, as a critical care pulmonology patient, I'm going to insist that you take steps so that you won't be abused. My husband is not abusive. I made a remark about he was eager to see me. You have to file so many times, they have to reject you so many times, then you hire a lawyer and all that. I made some kind of remark about him being eager for me to end the process. And she took that as me saying that he was abusing me. So I changed doctors again. I've had to change doctors too, but now with the shortage of specialists, for some things I have to travel for care, whether I like the provider or not. Melody, that is a big problem. Everyone is stressed and under pressure right now. There are physicians that are quitting, there are nurse practitioners, all of that. We move a lot, and I stick with my original paying doctor because of those meds. It'll look like doctor shopping if I change every time we move every 1 to 3 years. Yes, it will. But I've just reached a point in my life where I'm not putting up with any nonsense from any pulmonologist at this point. After a lifetime of asthma, a lifetime of those drugs, almost 17 years now with mast cell, I hate to have to go in and tell a physician, hey, look this up. I had a doctor last year here that I had to refer to different parts of the internet to some of the research hospitals for mast cell. He'd never heard of it before. So many people ignore red flags, and with you, they see things that aren't there. Infuriate. Melody, that's the thing. So as bad as it is for women of color, It's bad for all of us, and the pandemic didn't help. So now we have fewer specialists, we have fewer options. Many times our insurance company is dicking us around by changing things around and insisting that you do things a certain way before they'll cover us. That's what I ran into yesterday, where I just said, the hell with this. I'm just going to go ahead and go in the machine and change the setting to what I know my old setting was, because this has been 3 years of this nonsense. And I've woken up with blurry vision, with vision problems, too many days to just keep ignoring it after talking to my brain doctor. So here we go. We got the we've got KJ. We've got her lunatic friends. I mean her support horde. I'm going to call them that. We have her playing predictable games, and it's hurting people. And at the same time, you have African American people who she's putting at risk by the way she's talking to them, who are also dealing with this thing we're talking about, this whole medical thing. It sounds like, from everything I'm hearing, that Marvin is getting good care. I mean, he was at the VA hospital for a while, he's at a private hospital. I have no reason to doubt that. I have no reason to think not. That's between Marvin, his family, and his physicians. And for her to turn this into something about black versus white, it just boils my nerves. I just feel like smacking her. I'm afraid she's going to get someone killed one of these days with her crazy crusades and the things she says. She's going to rile up the wrong person one day, and it's going to reflect badly on her. Someone will be hurt or die, and I hope it's not her, because I know out in this world, realistically, you piss off the wrong people, they come after you. And she has taken no care to hide where she is and who she is. It's just ridiculous. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go. I've ranted about this. I mean, she just, and I wasn't even going to go on today. KJ will mess around and find out the hard way. Queen of Sheba, I think this is going to take to stop her. There's going to have to be some kind of something bad that happens to shut all this down, because obviously she doesn't have the brains, not the brains, the self-awareness that God gave a flea. She doesn't have that. If she did, she would know she could not keep doing these shitty things and screwing people over. So don't say tar baby. Let's be kind to each other, no matter what color our skin is. And don't accept piss poor medical care. It really is the worst. Self-control, self-control. Will KJ receive any self-control ever? Develop it. Most likely, and most likely the hard way, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and go. It's pill time again.